get in better shape. Okay. All right. 4570 Apologetics, part number 5. What really matters when it comes to bullets? Now, we are talking about hunting. We are not talking about long-range competition shooting where you're shooting paper or where you're shooting steel. We are not talking about fighting a war. We are not talking about mathematical equations. We are talking about the most important thing for hunters with cartridge, and that's lethal capability. Can it put down an animal quickly? And how quickly? There is a point of where you really don't want to be shooting animals with certain guns that would cause them to die slowly. So lethal capability fits within also a metric of ethics. Now, if you're filling your stomach and feeding your family, dead right then versus dead the next day because you shot it poorly, but you're able to harvest it the next day. While I would criticize your hunting skill, if you're feeding your family, I don't care. Ethics are feeding your family. I don't care about sportsmanship too much at that point if you're desperate for food. That's just how I feel. But lethal capability. When people like to talk about, the 4570 and its shortcomings, they go into these weird arguments for what actually makes a bullet great. Now, they might not say it out loud that way, but that is the point they're trying to articulate, is that how do we measure how good a bullet is? And they'll usually whip out some, mathematical equation, or they'll whip out things like ballistic coefficients or ballistic foot-pounds or sectional density, and they'll talk about all these types of things that are all fundamental and crucial when it comes to bullet construction, when it comes to bullet capability, because there's a lot of cartridges out there that are great cartridges, especially for extreme long-range hunts or for competition-style shooting, all these different things. When you get into some of the really new stuff, like the PRC line of cartridges or things like that, you can get some phenomenal cartridges that don't kick much, that shoot really far, they're super efficient, so they maintain their energy really out to a phenomenal distance, and with expansion, you can hunt a wide range of game. So please keep in mind, I'm not putting down other cartridges. I'm only here to uplift the 4570 in these apologetic videos. So lethal capability in hunting. The 4570 with the proper bullet surpasses a lot of cartridges that people would say are better. For one thing, the 4570's lethal capability that I've witnessed personally from my own hands, I've never had to shoot a large game animal more than once. Not once. And some pretty good sized elk. This guy right here is one of my 4570 elk. He was big. He was big. Just under 190 yards at a sprint is where I plugged him. So with a Hornady FTX 325 and right through both lungs behind the shoulder, and 40 yards, stopped, dropped. Didn't have to do anything else to him. By the time I got on top of him, he was in the last few seconds, and by the time I had my knife pulled out so that I could put him out of his misery, he was gone. Ideal hunt, ideal. So the lethal capability of this cartridge, if you're going to put a half-inch hole through an animal, which a lot of the time that's as wide as a lot of expanding 30 caliber bullets will get, or even down to 25 caliber bullets that are fast and expanding will get. 27 caliber bullets will get that will only reach that same width. The 4570 is guaranteed to at least be that wide, and if you're using an expanding 4570, you're going to get even wider. And in the weird arguments that people have against the 4570, they'll bring up, well, its expansion was only to 125%, while this 30-06 round, its expansion was like 190%. And while and my math might be wrong on this, but that's about the same amount of width in the end. And what matters is the width of what's passing through the animal, because the animal isn't going to be pressed by a multiplication number that's higher versus the exact same diameter bullet passing the whole way through it. Now, some people are going to say, well, but you have all that concussion from a 30 caliber bullet that as it expands, all that shockwave travels throughout it. I definitely know what you're talking about, and as a man who's also taken elk with 30-06 and other animals with 30-06 as well, like deer, yes, that is true, but the only thing I've seen really change is that I lose more meat with the 30-06 because of the damaged meat around that bullet. Where the 45-70, it'll open up to that really wide width, and there's hardly any meat damage around it, and the animals tend to die faster. Or, yeah, they tend to die faster. I'm just going to say it because YouTube's got things, but I don't think it'll penalize me for saying it here. I hope not. But, so the 45-70, in terms of what matters in a hunt, it's really hard to beat, and I haven't seen things beat it. I've assisted other people with taking game plenty of times, and this was about a 300-yard shot on a bull elk. First bullet that hit it was a 300 Win Mag, good shot, probably would have died relatively soon. It was a very big bull, and they shot him again with the 300 Win Mag, and somebody else then shot him, I believe, with a 270. And so there was 3 bullet holes in him. And the first bullet hole was when he was laying down. The second and third bullet that hit him were while he was on the run. And not able to build up very much speed at that point in time, but they hit him 2 more times. He ran a little bit, and then he laid down. Now, that was a group hunt. I've never taken an animal with another hunter with me to back me up. One deer I've taken, somebody was with me. One deer. I was the only one that hit it, though. Wait, no. Wrong. 2 deer. 2 deer that I've taken. People were with me. Just 2. But they weren't backing me up. They were in the truck. And then on the other one, everybody else was on horseback. I got off and I ran forward with the when we were all on horseback, and I popped my deer closer to it so that I didn't spook the horses as much. I had to get quite a ways away from them, but I saw the deer way off. So, but never had anybody backing me up. When I don't have anybody backing me up, the 45-70, if I can put one of these on them, is going to be one of the best bets to make sure that animal is done. And so when it comes to what matters in hunting, lethal capability, it's really hard to make an argument that a lot of other things are going to do better than the 45-70. Of course, there's cartridges that are going to hit with more ballistic foot-pounds, but I'm going to say it, I have not seen ballistic foot-pounds outdo a wide bullet passing through an animal when those bullets are placed in the exact same spot. And where I have seen animals get a smaller expanding bullet pass through them, I have seen them run further than after they've been hit in the same spot with a 45-70. Now, these were different animals, so maybe the ones that I've shot just aren't as strong. Maybe they're just weaker. But repeated results tend to be indicative of something. And all my hunting, for the most part, my entire life has been alone. I don't hunt with other people hardly ever. I kind of think it's bad luck for me. A little superstitious, you could say. But when it comes to what matters in hunting, the 45-70 has that lethal capability. And unless you choose a really, really bad bullet for the hunt, or you miss, the 45-70s can do a better job than a lot of other things. And that's one of the reasons why I love it.